We are here at San Japan 2010 with Greg Ayres. His brother Chris also works in the industry. They're both voice actors. You guys also do other things as well, don't you?
Yes, my brother and I have worked on stage together since we were little kids. We were acting professionally when I was 7 and he was, I guess, 9 or 10. And we've done a lot of projects together, not just stage, but we've done some other work, and now we do anime work together. And he's been both alongside me as an actor, but he's also been my director for several shows now.
So how did you guys break into the local anime localization voiceover industry?
Well, and that's an interesting question, because a lot of people think I make it known that I was an anime fan for years before I started doing this, and I think that most people don't understand that people that get into anime voiceover work were actors first. They weren't necessarily fans. And it's usually the same way it is with any job. It's word of mouth. I was doing a play with Monica Rial and Chris Patton, who are also very well-established voice actors, and we were doing a show in Houston. And at the time, ADV was recording a show called Spriggan, and they needed someone that sounded 10 years old, but that had some pretty strong acting chops, because it was the major villain in the movie. And at the time, they said, call my friend. He's an IT guy at a law firm, but he sounds like a little kid. And that was really what happened. They called me at work. I was taking help desk calls, and I got a call from ADV. The same with my brother. My brother, who is wonderful voice-wise and does amazing dialect work, he was like killing himself on these plays, and I was like, hey, why don't you come do voiceover stuff with us? And he's like, oh, well, I auditioned for that a long time ago. And I'm like, that was a long time ago, come over again. So it's kind of funny, because the joke is that he got me involved in theater, and then I got him involved in voiceover. But much like a lot of industries, it was word of mouth and a good recommendation. Right now, with the state of the industry, it's kind of hard to break into this industry, because those of us that do this for a living are now trying to find other work to augment this job, because it's not a full-time job anymore.
And by the state of the industry, you're talking about how a lot of places are closing down because of, what are some of the reasons you believe it is?
Well, and that's been I've spent the last 7 years trying to educate fans on the effects and the harm that digital piracy has had on the industry. And my brother just secretly walked in the room, by the way. And trying to let fans know that this idea that downloading anime is promoting it was false, and that in fact the Japanese don't like that, and they feel disrespected by it, and that has led me to a lot of fights and a lot of enemies in the industry, or not in the industry, but within fandom. But not only that, but any kind of rippling effect that happens in the American side of the anime industry has a double backlash, because it affects Japan. Most of the shows in Japan, the second half of the show is funded by the licensing to the anime distributor in the States. Well, if that doesn't happen because there's only 1 or 2 distributors, then that means the end of the show gets crappy animation, or they, God forbid, can't even finish a project. So there's a false concept that if anime collapses here in the States, that it won't affect Japan, and that's absolutely not true. One of the largest anime studios in Japan has gone from a 2-office location to 1 small, tiny shack office type situation, and that's bad for all of us, you know. So yeah, those are the reasons I think it's definitely hurting the industry. I think the economy's not helping, but I think that's a secondary fact. I think we anime fans ourselves shot the first bullet. So,
Chris, you want to join us?
Oh, I'll come in. I'll let him do his interview.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
But he's here. Guys, he's coming. He's coming.
He's coming. So what are some of the things that fans could do to help, support the industry?
I think the biggest thing fans can do to help the industry, because the obvious thing would be to buy and to spend money, but that's not the message that I've tried to tell people. The best thing they can do is discourage their friends from downloading anime, and discourage people from the notion that you have to have something right this second. I tell people all the time, there's tons of anime shows that you've never seen that are already available, and some of them you can watch for free on Hulu or Netflix streaming or the Funimation's YouTube channel. That doesn't require you stealing somebody else's intellectual property, or better yet, making it so that might not ever be licensed here. Because if something is oversaturated its market, there's no reason anybody would buy it. So I tell the best thing they can do is exert a little peer pressure on their friends and tell them, hey, that's not cool, don't do that. You realize every time you do that, you're giving the finger to the Japanese. And hopefully that respect issue will play into it, and they won't want to be disrespectful to somebody they say they're a fan of or who they're, honor.
So do you have an idea of like how many localization companies are still standing?
Oh yeah, I know for a fact. As far as distributors, there's only one major distributor here in the States. Well, actually two, but there's now Funimation Entertainment. There's Bandai, because Bandai has an American office. Manga is still in the game. The company Manga, they're doing a lot of anime distribution in Europe right now. There's now a new company called Sentai Filmworks, I think I'm right. Section 23 and Sentai Filmworks, which is a company that was kind of compiled or built after ADV was no longer in existence.
I heard that 4Kids is, going away.
4Kids is still in the game, but I don't know that they're going to continue to do anime distribution. I think they've always had to focus on other things, like children's programming and stuff like that.
I know some in the community, see that as a good thing that 4Kids isn't doing because of their controversial dubbing and changing of storylines and stuff. But in the larger scale, what does this like really mean for the industry as a whole? Is like 4Kids good or bad? I mean, they are getting it out there, in front of kids, introducing them to it, but them not doing it anymore,
Yeah, I as a fan, not as an industry person, as a fan, I have a problem with a lot of things 4Kids have done. At the same time, I think 4Kids bites a bullet that's not always their own totally. I know some shows that they've been blamed for things they've done to them. Those actual changes were requested by the Japanese in the hopes that they could get a show on television. Whether or not I like what they've ever done as a fan, I don't relish in the fact that anybody might be out of the game, because I think the more distribution companies we have in anime, the better it is for fans, and the better it is for the Japanese market, which means better shows, more shows, etc. That being said, I think maybe they may have gotten sick of all the abuse. Anime fans are pretty vocal about how much they dislike 4Kids, so maybe they're going to focus their efforts elsewhere. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope there's a happy medium, but we'll see. A lot of people are trying to figure out other revenue streams because this isn't paying the bills anymore.
So on the brighter side of things,
I was going to say, let's talk about something else.
What kind of new things do you have coming?
There's some very exciting things. I can finally talk about a few new things. Right now, and it's always the case with acting projects, we'll record something way before you guys ever get to find out about it. And so for a long time, we've been working on things that we couldn't talk about. And I just found out I can talk about I'm the spooky cat in Shikibani Hime, which I'm excited to be a part of that production because it was one of the first simulcasts. It was airing just days after it appeared on television in Japan on Funimation's YouTube channel. And it was a subtitled version, but I play the creepy cat, who is also the person that announces the next episode of every show, which I like that. As an anime fan, I know that happens at the end of every episode. So I'm also working on finished a show called Tears to TR, which my brother will probably talk about a little bit later. He's got the lead, but I play a little tiny elf that actually looks like a little girl.
I've heard of that. It's based off of a strategy PC game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I play what is it, a night elf?
No, it's a mining elf.
Mining elf, yeah, mining elf. But yeah, but he carries a hammer that's like 4 times his size, and instead of they want him to make swords, and all he wants to do is make pots and pans and cooking utensils. So it's kind of funny, but there's some new big projects that we worked on. We both, my brother and I both worked on the new Dragon Ball Z Kai. My brother in a much more substantial role, but I'm pretty excited that I was a part of the Ginyu Force, the kind of the slapstick villains in the Dragon Ball universe. I played Goldo in the Ginyu Force, and that was fun. And so there's a few really cool new things that we've worked on that are going to slowly start coming out. But yeah, that's it. And I'm doing a lot of conventions this year, so I'm pretty excited about that. I always have fun at conventions. So
now with the Dragon Ball Z that they did, it's not like a remake. It's just like a remastered. Is that what it is?
This is a different. I'll let Chris talk a little bit more about it, but there is more to it, I think, but I'm not real sure. Like I was not a big Dragon Ball person, so just being a part of this, I was like, oh, okay, what is that? And they're like, you're gonna be in the Ginyu Force. I was like, what is that? Because I was
Power Ranger parody.
yeah, and I don't know much about Kai, but my brother probably knows a little bit more. He can tell you a little bit more about it, but. It looks nice. The animation looked a lot cleaner than I remember, so maybe it may be a refix. I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Definitely.
San
Have
Japan.
fun. My brother
Are you guys
was a
gonna
lot
be
of
here
fun.
like next year?
I don't know. We never know whether we're gonna be somewhere next year or not. But I live in Houston, so I'm in San Antonio all the time. In fact, I'm wearing a shirt during the rave tonight that I got just down the street at the market that hopefully will not be lost. I wore it in New York and nobody would have meant. I'm wearing my El Borracho shirt on stage tonight, which anybody that knows me knows
Did you also get
that
your hair
shirt.
dyed for the rave?
No, this is what my hair looks like all the time, yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
finally have a job where I don't have to look like a banker, so
I think more people,
I've looked like this for about 8 years
more people,
now.
not me per se, but I'd like it, more variation in hair colors running around.
Oh, definitely.
That'd be
I see a
awesome.
lot of that at cons, definitely.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, definitely, it's been fun talking. Hope you have fun this weekend.
You
Definitely.
too.
Awesome.
Fun.
Thanks.